Welcome back to Sports Fights. My name's Jordan Parhar. We're here for part 4 of this debate with Tyler Bennett, Kyle Benning, and Bill Amos, and we are talking about which team is the worst good team of all time. And for this, it's which team historically over the 4 major sports that has been considered a good team, perhaps a great team, do you think is not really a good team? Which one is bad? Which one is actually not really, people say they're great, but really they're not the greatest. This one could go in a multitude of directions, so I'm excited to hear this. Tyler, let's start with you.
Okay, before I say anything, I have stats to back it up.
Good.
Okay?
That's good.
So. He has stats to back it up. Here we go.
The worst best team in history is the 1995-1996 Chicago Bulls.
Woo!
Wow, I
Hang on
have
now.
statistics to back it up.
He has statistics.
I
want to see these stats.
Let's go to the next one because I don't have time to list it all off. So
All right.
Okay, here we go.
First of all, in the question, he just said worst best team. My question was worst good team.
Yes,
That team won a championship.
They did.
They did.
My team was the 2011 to the current Cincinnati Bengals, who have made the playoffs every year and have failed to get out of the
Wait,
first
hold
round.
on. So you're going not just
40
one
40
team.
years.
I'm going the team from 2011 to now, the entire span.
Outside the box, Kyle Benning. I like it. Okay, so you're going, why the Cincinnati Bengals?
Just because they made the playoffs every year and failed to get out of the first round, no matter how well they do in the regular season. Exactly, Bill's got it. Andy Dalton can't win a playoff game.
What about those red-headed quarterbacks, man? Poor Andy Dalton.
They imploded this year.
Oh,
That was
yeah,
bad.
definitely.
Well, in fairness, Andy Dalton was injured. But, okay, Bill.
Well, I know this is not going to be popular in this town, but I have to pick the Vancouver Canucks. And not just for one era, for 2 eras.
Oh, so Bill also going out. This is
2 eras.
So you're going 20 teams here, Bill? 20 years of teams? How many years are we talking?
Well, we're talking about the span early to mid-90s.
Okay.
And we're talking about the span of Alain Vigneault as coach.
Oh,
Breaking it up. We're breaking
So
it
we're
up.
They were the worst good team twice.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yes.
we're talking the Linden years and then...
We're talking Russian
Vigneault
Rocket years.
Okay.
We're talking Luongo years.
Okay, let's hear it. Why?
Well,
Why were
okay,
they not
you go
good?
back to the 90s, you have the Russian Rocket, most exciting player in the game. 60 goal seasons. You have division championships.
That sounds pretty good to me, Bill.
Yeah, but...
But...
The glasses. It's when he puts on the glasses, he gets serious.
You know he means business.
Here they go.
It's Walter Cronkite.
Okay, let's go to 91-92. Calder winning season for Pavel Bure.
Sure.
Okay. They're in the playoffs. First round, they go 3-1 down against the Jets.
This also...
They talk about Cinderella teams. They rally. They beat the Jets. Mind you, not that hard. But anyway, and then
Quentin.
they go to the Smythe Division final. Oh, too bad. Oilers
Bill,
winning
Bill
6.
we're running out of time, Bill.
Okay, so
Can we
let
argue?
me just go. The 60 goal season the next year. Couldn't get past the second round again. 93-94, we all remember. Peter Nedved, of all people, had the holdout. Oh, dear me.
Peter
Then
Nedved, oh no!
They get to the final. They do get to the final. They're a goal post away from bringing the 7th game into overtime again. No cup. And then, the Alain Vigneault years, President's Trophy. Finally, after 3 times playing the Hawks, they beat them in 7 games, even though the Hawks came back from a 3-0 deficit and almost won in overtime in Game 7. And
They slayed the dragon, Bill.
as John Shorthouse, our grad, said.
Shout out
then,
John Shorthouse.
then they got to the final 2-0, up in games 2-0. Go to Boston, total choke job. They just stunk. And then they win Game 5. Can't win Game 6 and Game 7.
And we all know how
put
that
on
ended.
a terrible display.
We all know how that
Yeah.
ended. Good times. Okay, all right, so there we go. So we have the Chicago Bulls, the greatest team arguably in the history of sports. We have 4 years of the Bengals in Cincinnati, and we have the Vancouver Canucks
Basically-
from 2 eras, which I guess we can say is
It's
10
about
years.
7 years.
Okay, 7
Total of
years.
about
Yeah.
7
7
years.
years. Okay, that was not what I was expecting. So, Tyler, first, you said you have stats, so let's hear your stats.
Well, first, I'm gonna flaw your guys' arguments before I get.
Oh! So the championship winning team.
We talk about good teams, and Bill, to be honest, those early '90s Canucks teams, were they really that good? Because even in the '94 Cup run, they were the 6th, 7th seed heading into the.
There was a
first round.
Cinderella
They
team
were a
in that
Cinderella
run,
team, but they
yeah.
weren't statistically a good team. So I think when you're looking at those early '90 teams. You know, in the mid-'90s, they kind of underperformed because they had the expectation after doing that. But the years you're talking about, they weren't actually that good. So
Two divisions they won.
But I just don't see them as...
Russian Rocket.
I just don't see it. And then
Kirk
with
McLean.
Kyle's, the Bengals have been good, but they've never been a favorite. I don't think. And
They were a number 3 seed
number
2
3.
years.
Okay, so but in my argument, I'm taking it as they are like the top. The Chicago Bulls, everyone puts at the very top, and I think they are about here. So the margin here to here is much bigger than where you
I
have
haven't
them
heard
here.
anything to back that up
Okay,
yet.
here we go. It's going to be a while. 4 Eastern Conference teams under 400. 4 Western Conference teams under 400. They've played a combined 23 games against these under 400 teams. We have never seen in the NBA a weaker league ever. And I looked this up. There's never been a weaker winning percentage throughout the rest of the teams. So, they are 22-1 against those teams. They lost 1 game against Toronto Raptors. So,
Wow.
if you take away even half of those wins, they only win 60 games, which is still good, but it's not like the best team ever assembled. And I think when you look at that team, even in the playoffs, they swept a helpless Miami team in the first round, ran over a fairly washed-up New York Knicks team in the second round. Patrick Ewing was 34 or so. They didn't really have anyone behind him
It
other than
was the
John Starks.
Knicks.
And then they played the Orlando Magic, who, you know what, did okay without Jordan in the mix, with Shaquille O'Neal being very young. And then in the NBA Finals, they took on the Seattle Supersonics, who had a very good year, but behind Sean Kemp, behind Detlef Schrempf, and of course Gary Payton, the bench, they just didn't have the depth to do it. And, you know, they won in 6. It took the Bulls 6 games to win it. So I think when you look at it, if they were in a league like this year, when you have the Spurs, the Thunder, the Clippers, you know, they got
Warriors.
the Warriors, and they have so many good teams to face. If they had to play those guys 22 out of 23 times, would they really win 22 times?
How can a team be bad when you've got Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Phil Jackson coaching? It cannot be a bad team.
It can't, I'm not saying it's a bad team. I'm saying they're not nearly as good as people think they are. That's my argument.
Kyle, hop in here.
The
You want to say
question
something.
was the worst good team of all time.
Tyler just went bold, though. He just went bold.
He went very bold.
It was.
He went very
The
bold.
whole choice.
This,
Give him
this either way we put this, both teams picked by Tyler and Bill went to a championship final.
They did.
Yes.
Yeah.
so they're considered good.
They consider better than good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically,
So,
the number
Were the,
2
Be-
team
but
each
were the
year,
Bengals
right?
considered good? That's my question.
Okay.
I
In
think
2011-12, they were the number 6 seed coming in 9-7.
That's
okay,
not good.
That's not good.
No.
It's average.
They lost to the T.J.
They-
Yates
They
led
lost to
Houston
like
Texans.
Exactly, but
Not good.
In the NFL, when only 6 teams make the playoffs, you have to be a pretty
12 teams.
12 teams or 6 teams from each conference make the playoffs. You have to be able to make it in there.
When you play the Browns twice a year, though.
Fair point.
That's true.
Fair point.
Free
But
points.
you also
Two
have to-
free wins.
you-
Yeah.
but you also-
Two free wins.
You also have to play the Steelers. You also have to play the
Steelers
Ravens.
Steelers went to great.
Anyway, in 12-13, they were number 6 seed at 10-6. So they squeaked out getting in that wild card spot, but they lost to Houston again, 19-13.
Yeah, that's bad.
In 2013-14, they were number 3 seed, so they just missed out on getting first round bye, and they finished 11-5 that year. Lost to San Diego 27-10. The year after that, 5 seed at 10-5-1. So again, not great, but still good. And they lost to Indy 26-10 in the wild card. And this past season, where they were number 3 seed, 12-4, and they lost to Pittsburgh, where they played Pittsburgh and beat them earlier in the
They threw
season.
that game
And they
away.
were at
They
home.
really did.
They were at home. They
But-
lost 18-16. So in those years, they made it to the playoffs every single year, and they never amassed more than 16 points in the playoff games.
However, Jordan, I thought, had a good point in that we're talking about good teams. In the case of the Canucks, they've made 2 finals, right? Both of them went to 7 games. So that's a good team. It's just a bad good team. And, of course, the Bulls. No one would argue that they were a bad team.
Yeah, I would take your 2015-16 Bengals as a good argument because they were
Yeah.
12-4.
Yeah,
but
but
even
not the
past
rest.
that, 10-5-1, 11-5, 10-6, 9-7.
Yeah. So
But the NFL to make it to the playoffs is so tough when only 6 teams from each
But
conference.
again, like there's.
What about
I'm
making it to
taking
the
as the
Stanley Cup
Bengals are
final?
here, the
That's
Canucks are
tough.
here, and
Yeah, but
Bulls
wouldn't
are
that
here.
make you
here.
further past a worse team?
There are like
if you
5
make
conversations
if
going
you
on right now.
if you make
right
it to
here.
a championship final, that makes you better than a worst possible team, in
No,
my opinion.
No,
You
it
did-
makes you a good team.
no,
It doesn't make it Cincinnati.
All right,
I don't know if
okay,
it qualifies as a
here
good
we
team.
go, guys. Let's wrap things up. Things are going off. Oh, we're going off the rails a little bit here. So
It's like
all
a
right, let's
Republican
talk-
debate.
it really is.
Yes.
All right. It's
at
on
least
CNN.
no insults.
Here we go.
being thrown around.
We have Trump. We have Cruz, and we have Kasich. It's great. Okay, so
Dear me.
I was surprised by these answers, really. So, I was going to say, and I'm sure as you notice, hey, how come the screen is black now? What happened was, I talked about how the Buffalo Bills should have been brought up as a team that was
We're so
good
shocked
that it's
that-
bable,
yeah.
and
Kyle
and
Hulk smashed the
Kyle-
table.
yeah, Kyle was so mad because he was going to say that, but he changed his mind. So
Because
too
I
bad.
thought a
That's
team
too
who
bad.
makes the championship would be considered better than a good team.
Well,
no.
That's
Oh,
my.
they're-
That's
they're
how I
real
took
good
it.
team.
No,
That's-
no. So anyway,
They're a bad
so
good team.
Kyle, I'm sorry, I wouldn't really consider the Bengals. Yes, like last season they were good, but those other seasons where they were like a 6 seed, I didn't really consider them to be that good. They were considered big underdogs that season. Andy Dalton has never been considered as like the real deal in the NFL. I don't think.
But he's been considered a good quarterback.
yeah, but they don't think they've been
you
considered
can't
really that
win in
great
the
of a
clutch
team.
ever.
Okay, the Bulls, arguably the greatest team of all time. The Chicago 95-96 Chicago Bulls.
By opinion.
By opinion, yes. But you know what? They're a good team, and you had stats to back that up. Bill, the Canucks. I mean, I don't know. Yes, they made the finals in the early '90s, and don't mind my phone vibrating in the middle of this YouTube video. That's how I roll. I don't really know if beyond those two teams they were that great
They
in
go
the
to game
in the
7?
'90s. No, they
Game
were
7
good.
and
Sure,
two finals.
sure. The Vigneault year, and sure the
That's a good team.
that was a good team.
It's a good team.
Those early '90s though, don't really think that they were considered that great
Well,
of
I
teams.
remember the buzz around the city was this is it. This is the wave. The Russian Rockets here. Kirk McLean's a great goalie. Come on, Canucks. This is the time. This is the time. Everyone was saying this is the time.
Fair, Bill. But I'm gonna give the point to Tyler because
What?
Question of
because-
judgment.
Oh.
Because it's not about who has
Oh.
who I agree with the most. It's who made the best arguments. Tyler made the best arguments, and he was bold, and I like bold.
A
A team with Michael Jordan is the worst, best team
I could
of all
have given
time.
you a page and a half of factual argument.
But it's got to be concise, Bill. Succinct, my friend.
Oh,
And
40
it was
seconds.
not.
Many
Tyler
points.
was. So Tyler Bennett gets the point.
Oh
it is
my
2-0. Kyle Benning is shut out. Kyle, you have been eliminated from this edition of Sports Fights. Any final thoughts?
A big thank you to Germany for kicking us out. That's all I'm gonna say. Thanks, Germany.
All right, so there we go. A little inside joke there. So
I guess so. I don't get it.
sayonara to Kyle
Oh,
Benning.
Germany's kicked us out from YouTube, so we're not allowed to broadcast
Oh.
from Germany.
There
Auf
we go.
Wiedersehen.
All right, so there we go. That wraps up part 4 of Sports Fights. Join us for part 5, where we get into the speed
We
round.
offer you some
It-
Wiener Schnitzel, yeah?
The speed round between the mighty Bill Amos, who speaks German, and Tyler Bennett, who does not speak German. We'll see which one of them will come out on top. Join us then. It's going to be a lot of fun.